Okay, so here's some big ideas and themes for you to be thinking about. And they're not in any particular order because I think they're all equally valid and equally important. But you can think about this. I'm going to pop them in behind me as I go, so you'll be able to at least stay focused on what I'm talking about. So how about quality of care? Lots to think about with that, right? And we all have different standards for quality of care. Okay, so what would that mean to you may not be what it means to me. Okay, we'll talk about that a little more. Like, do you need prescriptions? Do you need daily care? Things like that. Do you need surgeries? We'll talk about that. Pricing. What are the prices of healthcare around the world? And how do you determine that? Part of that I can guarantee you is whether you go to like Europe. European Union has mostly socialized medicine. We'll talk about France a little later and Portugal. Okay, but that's different versus universal medicine. That's a little bit different versus private or public. So these are all things that we're going to chat about. Then what exactly are the type of services you can get? So does every country offer surgeries? If they do, who's doing the surgery? Okay, and if they don't, where do they want you to go? So of course that's going to be very important, that kind of a topic. Next we would have a topic of, are you looking at hospitals in other countries? You might say, well, of course. No, it's not of course. You might be looking at clinics. And in fact, on the islands, like in Belize, that kind of place, the clinics are just as good as hospitals. I mean, it depends on unless it's something really dramatic that you need. But for the most part, and I'm going to give you really, really good examples on people that definitely could have their life saved in a clinic in Belize, that they would have never thought that before. And we're going to talk about that. So you have to analyze that. Whatever the facility is, hospitals, clinics, how many are there? Are they modern? Are they old? Now, there is one gold standard which you should know about. And if you look anywhere on the internet, you're going to see this. It's called the JCI standard. Yeah. You want to know, what's that? Okay, I'll tell you what that is. That's the Joint Accredited International Standard for hospitals and clinics and doctors and facilities in a country. JCI. When you're looking at different countries, look for that. Look to see if JCI has certified any part or all of the facilities in a particular country. Because if they have, and it's thorough, deep due diligence they do, usually you're going to have a fair amount of American doctors, very American trained, very possible, English-speaking doctors, well-known facilities that cater to all kinds of ailments that any of us might have. The JCI is something you always want to look for. It doesn't mean it's a bad hospital or a bad healthcare facility if they don't have it, but it certainly is a gigantic comfort level for you if they do have it. Next, you do want to inquire, does the facilities there have U.S. doctors or U.S. trained doctors? Either one. What's their language? What language are they helping you in? That's gigantic. Because if you can't explain in their language what's wrong with you, you're going to have a real hard time getting care. So we'll talk about some of the things they do in Colombia today. Oh, that was the other one I meant to mention. They're one of the top healthcare countries in the world. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little later on the English and the translation part of this. Okay, another big issue you would want to inquire and look into carefully is the actual medical cost, right? I mean, so it's getting hot in here. The medical cost, exactly, for whatever you want to do. So whether it's surgeries or care, daycare, or prescriptions, etc. What are the medical costs? You're going to dig into that. We're going to do some examples on that. Also, how about the efficiency of care? Now, you could say, well, yeah, if they're U.S. doctors, I know it's going to be pretty efficient. But I wouldn't make that assumption. Why? Because don't make assumptions. Haven't we talked about this already? Yeah, so stop making assumptions. No. Analyze efficiency of care. And I'll give you some secrets on how you do that. How about level of care? They're a little different, right? Level of care. Can that facility or any facilities in that country give you what you need? Now, they may be able to give you some of what you need, but then some of them cannot give you what you need, or they can only partially give you what you need. You need to analyze your own personal needs. Then you analyze what's going on in that country and whether they can do that or not. Now, again, we're going to go over some examples later on. It's a really important point for you. Another big one that's kind of subtle is accessibility. I mean, look, you may want to go live in a Costa Rican jungle, okay? No problem. Have a great time. And we'll go find you some properties there. But if something happens, heart problem, lung problem, something kind of major, how accessible is the next facility to you? I'm not next, nearest facility to you to get care. You have to analyze these things as you're looking to buy properties in different parts of the world, right? Is it 10 minutes away? Is it an hour away? Is it a plane away? A boat? A lot of the stuff, like in Belize, you might take a boat from an island over to central Belize, for example, or a plane hopper. And I've seen people do it, for health reasons. But I mean, you have to analyze this. It's like, how much time do you have if you have a heart problem? And also we'll talk about things like accessibility to U.S. hospitals if you need one. So for example, in Belize, you'd pop over to Miami for sure. Panama, the same thing, maybe into Texas. Okay, if you needed something done really fast or really quick or any kind of major issue, right? So if they couldn't handle it. Though mostly they can. But you might be more comfortable going to Miami to have a heart surgeon look at you, just for example, than a Belize heart surgeon. Even though that guy may be trained in the States. Decisions for you. All I'm doing right now is I'm pointing out the questions. I'm pointing out what you have to think about before you buy that piece of property, right? That's what we're doing right now.